What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It has been confirmed that conservative YouTuber and um, the man that goes out and does talk to a lot of conservative, liberal college students, Charlie Kirk, um, sorry, has been shot and killed in Utah today. He was hosting one of his debates, as he naturally does in Utah. There are videos out there. Go to conservativenewswave.com. Thanks to Benny Johnson for putting some of that up there. There's going to be a lot of different camera views out there on it. But while he was having a debate, um, he was shot by a gunman, and Charlie died, as it was confirmed that he has allegedly passed. He was shot in the neck pretty badly, and obviously that was a fatal shot that took Charlie out. Charlie was known to be very conservative, like me and Tucker and Benny Johnson, Mark Dice, but he went out there and held, you know, what we would call debates. And he was a very good debater. And I've learned a lot from Charlie. But let's get into it. Why did this happen to Charlie? Obviously, we know why it happened to Charlie. Because Charlie's conservative. Charlie speaks out against this. But the really sad part was Charlie was actually talking about gun violence. That was part of that conversation, and he got shot. Liberals are very sick and twisted. They're gonna laugh at this and say, "Oh, well, I hope the shooter's okay." You're sick. You're sick as fuck if you think that, because Charlie had a family. He had a wife, kids, and just because you disagree with Charlie, it doesn't mean that you should go out there and wish ill will against people like Charlie. So, to Charlie's family, we are very sorry. But there's also other key components as to, how this is kind of very odd and strange how Charlie passed. There was no metal detectors at that school. So they wouldn't have known that the shooter allegedly had a weapon. The security didn't even know, allegedly, that the shooter was there. But yet Charlie gave his life doing what he loved best, being a conservative, debating, talking, and trying to put facts into people's minds so that they can understand and wake up to things like this being true. And of course, we already know that the media is going to say it's just another statistic. It's a conservative, oh well. We know that the media is going to say that. I have to pack a lip because I'm really shaken right now. I really am shaken. This isn't pretend or anything. I'm seriously shaken right now with how angry I am and how hurt I am, because this hurts me. Because why didn't they have a metal detector in that school? And why is the alleged active shooter still at large? why did they let him go away? Why wasn't nothing done to protect Charlie? Why was nothing? The school had don't schools have an alleged policy where no guns are allowed? But then what if somebody saw that shooter and took him out before the shooter allegedly took out Charlie? Well, it would have been the right thing to do, but nothing was done to protect Charlie. And as hard as it is to watch, this is enough. I'm not, like Tim Pool said, hoping for war. I don't want war. But this is kind of how the liberals act. They want war. They kill a conservative. They killed a conservative because of his belief. Isn't this enough, conservatives, for us? Whoever this person was, I hope they get justice served. Because this is sick, twisted. What the worst part is that news agencies now are covering it, and some are making it to where it's not embeddable, to where we can show you footage, because we don't have the rights or the abilities right now to show you access up to what happened. I was going to originally do where I reacted to it, but I can't gut doing it. I just cannot man up and gut up to watching it because it makes me nauseated knowing that this is what happened to Charlie. Whether you like Charlie or not, whether you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, in the middle, independent, or neither party, isn't this a wake up call for you guys to understand now that this is what Charlie's been talking about? Mental illness. This is the kind of mental illness that this shooter had in his mind. He was so hateful and spiteful towards Charlie that he shot Charlie. Doesn't that make you nauseated enough as a conservative or a Democrat or a Republican or a liberal? Doesn't that just nauseate you, knowing that Charlie Kirk is now dead because somebody out there doesn't agree with you politically? And that the fact that he's also the suspect is at large. Doesn't it nauseate you to know this is happening? Conservatives, Republicans, we need to start manning up and not tolerate this anymore. It makes me sick that Charlie Kirk had to die because somebody didn't like him. Somebody didn't agree with him. And Utah, of all places, No metal detectors. No nothing. No protection for Charlie whatsoever. Conservatives, we do need to be careful because these people are out there. This is what liberals do. This is what deranged, mental, ill liberalism bots will do. They will hurt anyone. They will attack anyone. And I've said it 1,000 times. I don't know how many times. Tim, thank you for joining. How many times have I said that they attack us? A lot. Probably out of the 4.5 to 5 years I've done this, I've said it multiple times. This is what they do. And they will continue to keep doing it because they're deranged. This is a mental illness. But the media will blame it on the gun problems. It's not the gun's fault. It's the one who pulled the trigger is at fault for taking Charlie's life. Now Charlie won't be able to watch his kids grow up. Only in heaven, but not here in the real world. His kids will now be fatherless because of this suspect. Because nothing was done to protect Charlie. They didn't have a metal detector. They didn't find the suspect. This is what happens. Again, if you want to watch, courtesy to Benny Johnson, who is a conservative, go to conservativenewswave.com and watch it. I can't gut watching it. I can't gut watching a conservative be allegedly gunned down for his beliefs. While talking about gun control, or not gun control, but talking about guns. This is what happens when you let mental illness go too far. This is what happens when you let politics get into your head and you take it to the extreme. That was extreme. The person who shot Charlie could have at least tried to debate Charlie instead of taking him out. But he didn't. He decided to be a pussy and kill Charlie because Charlie was too conservative for him. That is flakish. That is wrong and illegal. And to Charlie's family, I do want to say something. I am sorry. We are all sorry. We are all going to miss Charlie, very much so. I looked up to Charlie a lot. In the 4.5 to 5 years that I've debated liberals, I've watched a lot of Charlie's debates and I've learned how to take questions and answer like Charlie and not like him, but learn from him and how he deals with things and how proper procedures should go in debates. All from Charlie. Charlie was like my hero to me, the biggest hero. But but the media doesn't want to talk about gun violence in the way that it should be talked about, like with alleged mental illness. They want to ignore it and play it off, as always. They will. Because this is what happens when somebody when somebody has a mental illness and doesn't know how to control themselves or get help, this is what happens. If you do have some kind of psychosis issue, talk to your doctor, talk to a psychiatrist. We are not doctors nor psychiatrists or claim to be one or pretend to be one on TV, but talk to a professional because this is a serious issue. I just got done talking to Tim, not Tim Pool, but another Tim, my buddy Tim. If Tim's still here, I don't know if he is. And me and him had just a small discussion with how hard this would be for me to talk about this. You and I had that conversation, Tim, with how hard this was going to be for me. Because this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been addressing. Mental illness. The left being violent. This is what they do, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies. This is the kind of stuff the left loves. They love to be violent animals. They are vicious animals. They are not humans. They are animals. They are demonic entities. They are not of Christ, but evil. This is why when Tim and I had this conversation earlier, is Greg Abbott a Democrat or a Republican? I thought he was Democratic. But this is why when we got to talk about this. Because, yeah, exactly. He was talking about mass shootings before he even got shot himself. These are issues that, yes, MAGA supporters address, that, yes, we conservatives address, but it gets ignored. It gets ignored because the left I don't believe Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is not one of the guys that I really trust, and I doubt he's very much empathetic. Sadly, I doubt his empathy is sincere. But this is what happens. He did. He went to God. And he was young. He was 31 or 32 years old. He was younger than me. He was younger than me. And I've done this longer. A little bit than Charlie. I'm a little bit older than Charlie. My flag is at half mast. I'll show you. For Charlie. So, this is how disgusting these people are. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, this is the kind of, I hope they do, but this is the kind of stuff that we have addressed. It is. It's a very cowardly act of violence. And we've addressed that this is what the left does every time. Act of cowardly violence. Every freaking time. Because this is how they feel like they can solve problems. By causing violence. By using violence. That's not how you solve problems. Violence isn't the answer. Like I said earlier, you know how we solve problems? By doing what we gotta do. By we the people, the collective, stepping up and telling our government to kick rocks. That is how we deal with it. Charlie didn't deserve this. His wife, his kids did not deserve this. Because now these cowardice left and Democrats are going to laugh at this like a bunch of cowards because they are cowards. Good. And I hope they investigate and find him. Because the person who shot Charlie Kirk is a coward, is a pansy, is a baby bag bitch. Because you can't solve problems with guns like that. By shooting somebody you disagree with. That's cowardism. This is what the liberals do all the time. And they've always said, we're not the violent ones, we're the peaceful ones. No, you're not. They are not peaceful. They are violent. They are vicious. They are animals. They are not humane. They don't understand what being tolerant means in any way, shape, or form. Tolerance to them is being violent, like the 1350% crime. I bet you when they find the shooter, he will probably have off himself or he will probably hide until somebody turns him in. Those are two things I think are going to happen. Because this is a typical move that Democrats do. And I hope that they find him alive and they charge him. If you see this guy, do not, do not, do not put yourself in the dangerous situation of trying to apprehend him. Call your local police. Call the FBI. Call Homeland Security. Let them know that you see that guy. Call your local authorities because he is dangerous and at large. And he should not be apprehended by you or by anyone. Because this man, we don't know how dangerous he is. We don't know what he will do or not do. If he shot Charlie already, that already tells you where he's at mentally. He's not in a good mental state. You want to ask me. Exactly, Zen. They had to show their weakness. That they can't fight or debate us like proper human beings. They are cowards. They have to use violence in order to prove their point, which proves our point more. And I'm sure they got them locked down. I'm sure any university or schools near Utah are locked down. And that school probably is locked down by now. According to a lot of reports, that school is on lockdown and investigating the situation at hand, from what I've seen. This just shows you how vile these people can be. Oh, but they're not. They are. No, they wouldn't try to allegedly shoot a conservative because they're tolerant. They don't like guns. They don't like to use violence. Yeah, right. We just proved our point. Let me show you guys something. In your minds, when it comes to shootings, who are the alleged demographics that do it? And I'm not talking skin color, but I'm talking who typically does it. People with mental illness. Not just mental illness, but people that are weak. People that are non tolerant. And this shows you how right Charlie was about the left. Charlie always called it out, saying the left are never, ever, ever tolerant or not violent. They are always going to be violent and continue to be violent and perpetuate violence. Because this is what Charlie was talking about. And he was right. He's been right all along. But people don't want to listen to Charlie because those that think that Charlie was wrong, when arguing or debating Charlie, always prove Charlie to be right. Majority of the time, it's never about tolerance. You see how seething they get when they're pissed. And how mad they get. And how triggered they get very quickly and easily. Am I right or wrong, video challenge? Please, weigh in. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. I would like to know if I'm right or wrong. This is how easy they get triggered. You say a word like 1350, mental illness, abortion is wrong, violence is not the answer. They heave and they act like a bunch of heathens, a bunch of demonic democratic demons from hell, and they do this. How many times have I told you guys about this? Just like Charlie, I've mentioned it multiple times. Let's be honest. These are not the issue. It's this. Guns aren't the issue. It's this that's the issue. People with mental illness who have guns are the problem. But you don't want to listen to people like me and Charlie because, of course, allegedly me and Charlie don't know what we're talking about, but we do. And then when this happens, some people start to wake up and realize, Charlie and conservative were always right. They were always right about everything. They were never wrong. And then we get attacked or shot at because we don't use violence. We don't use pew pews for every answer. We use our words like adults because we're educated, we're knowledgeable. We know using violence to replace rational thinking is wrong. When you use violence in replace of rationality, that's when you start having a problem. And that is our problem. People can't rationalize what needs to be done and not be done. Am I right or wrong? I'm right. Again, I'm right. Because rational thinking sometimes, I know it's hard for the Democrats, especially the liberals, to rationalize facts over feelings. And I know feelings get hurt when you got a conservative who knows what they're talking about and knows that violence is not always the answer, but when we're talking about who causes the most violence, the left, the Democrats, the liberal, the progressives, I think we kind of see the statistics. Again, statistics prove more and more to be truthful. Charlie was another statistic of a gun violent act from an irrational person, from a monster. It's not the fact that Charlie was pissing off somebody by using rational reasoning and facts and statistics. It was because Charlie was proven points time and time again, showing how hard it was for liberals to comprehend right and wrong. What do you got to say, Tim? Talk to me, Tim. You're in the chat, please. I want to hear what you got to say, because I don't think liberals are ever going to comprehend the facts that this was done intentionally. This was done with facetious, malicious intent. And I bet you they're going to play this off as another alleged white active shooter. We are horrified. We are very horrified. Because conservatives now possibly have to fear for their life. That should not happen. It wasn't because Charlie was white or because he was a male. It was because he was a conservative that he was being targeted for. His reason for being rational. And this scares me as a conservative every day. That being conservative is almost becoming like a taboo topic. It shows exactly what happens when you are a conservative, that people will attack you because they don't like you, because you stand with God, Trump, America, our rights and our liberties. And that goes against what they believe in. I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, we should not tolerate it. As a conservative, I do not tolerate it. I don't, frankly, tolerate violence towards anyone, whether you're left or right, or down the middle, or you're non-political. I don't tolerate violence. Violence is not the reason of this just happening. It's because people are becoming violent because they're taking politics way too fucking far for me to even comprehend why they would even think doing something like what this guy did to Charlie. Am I wrong for saying what I say? No, I'm not wrong. I'm right. Conservatives have been 100 steps ahead of liberals. We have always been 100 steps ahead of them, knowing that this is going to happen to us. And we understand that this will happen to us. Because when you speak truth, it hurts somebody's feelings enough that they don't like it. And they decide to embark on being facetious or hurting somebody else. When conservatives never do that. And now conservatives probably are asking the question, do we have to fear now more than ever for our lives because Charlie got gunned down? I don't know. I feel like we might have to start really fearing for our lives because this is dangerous. Being a conservative is dangerous, but at the same time, it's right. It's what needs to be done. Tim, do you fear that repercussions could happen to us at any point in time? I do, but I fear it, but I understand it. Do you fear, Tim, being a conservative now that this happened to Charlie? Do you feel like being a conservative publicly is dangerous for us? Or do you think we still have a chance to be okay and be in public? I would love to hear your opinion. Because honestly, this scares me. Do you fear being out in public and allegedly being known as a conservative would possibly be something like this to happen? I kind of do because the left are unhinged. This proves again how unhinged they are. And it's madness. The FBI should definitely investigate this. They should. And I hope they do. I hope they find him. To Charlie Kirk's family, we are sorry. We are very sorry that this had to happen to Charlie. But us conservatives have nothing to apologize for because it wasn't us doing it. It was the left. This man has to apologize who took Charlie's life more than us. The left have to apologize to us now. They should be begging for forgiveness. I will look into that, Zen. I will. The left should be begging for forgiveness by us. And absolutely 100% waking up to realizing how bad this makes them look and how tyrannically alleged terroristic that makes them look. Because now they're no longer liberals. They're alleged terrorists right now. If you have to go out there and demand to be respected by using violence, that's alleged terrorism. That is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong that this is what it comes to as America. America never once was violent when it came to politics. We always could disagree and or agree, but it would never have gotten that violent. Back way when, probably like the 60s. It was never this way. But now it's become this. It's become this way because people don't want to accept the fact that they are wrong and that they can be wrong from time to time. And it's okay if you're wrong. It's just part of being a human being. You got to accept it. I accept when I'm wrong sometimes, and I sometimes, yeah, get a little uncomfortable, but I have to suck it up, buttercup, and man through it. It's number one important to do. Number two, it's part of life. Number three, it's the right thing to do. And it's the importance of knowing that if you're wrong, correct that mistake. Maybe sometimes looking at different political spectrums isn't always a bad thing. It's important to watch and see, sure, I may agree with one side or the other, but I may disagree with that other side, but be open minded. They're not ever going to be open minded. They're going to be closed minded because they think that what the media, liberal media industrial complex feeds them is the truth. And it never is. Like I said earlier in my earlier live stream, this is what the liberal media industrial complex wants us to do. They want us to be against each other, not with each other, and stand with each other. Divided we fall, united we stand. We should all stand in solidarity after this incident with Charlie Kirk, stand together as a union, as a nation, under God, for which it is and always will be. Because I think this should show how bad when you decide to do something like this, it makes you look and your party look. It makes your party look pretty bad. And liberals, I hope you wake up today. For the love of God, please wake up today and open that eye and mind of yours. Don't say fuck Trump. Don't say how's the shooter. I hope the shooter's okay. Don't say that. What you should say is, you know what? I think I'm going to stand with the Republicans and conservatives on this one. because this is what the Republicans were talking about that we need to stop and deal with. Violence. Is it enough? Is today enough for you? Video challenge. Is today enough for you with this incident? Zen, is today enough for you for this incident? It's enough for me. I'm nauseated. I want to throw up right now, but I'm holding back because I'm trying to be the better man. I have a lot of anger in my heart right now because of this, but I'm holding back and I'm being a good person. And I don't wish hate, harm, or violence on anyone. I wish God would bless you. I wish God would bless you and open your hearts a little bit more to see that you should be like Jesus. Not a spitting image of him, but like him. Not hurting thy neighbor, but loving thy neighbor as you love thyself. Not being violent, but open-minded to listening. Understanding that love, compassion, and yes, disagreeing sometimes can be very hard and for some people very immoral. And sometimes we have to use that moral compass of ours to guide us to being a better person. And that's what Charlie was, a moral compass for all of us conservatives. I don't know if I could have said it any better. But he was a very much so a moral compass to how all of us conservatives should be. Liberals, why don't you take note from what Charlie has done? And calling out the people that are being this way. Isn't today enough for you? Isn't today the day where you are tired of sitting there on your fat, lazy ass, whining about Trump? 2 people have died recently. The girl from Ukraine and now Charlie. Isn't this kind of enough? Isn't it? Now you're at that point where you're like, this is just pure idiocracy and hypocrisy at its finest. Aren't you at that point? I think Tim is. I don't know. Ask Tim. I could be wrong. You can ask this Tim. You can ask Tim Pool. You can ask any conservative. They probably will tell you the same thing that we all both tell you. Yes. But that little moral compass of yours in Democratic minds don't work. Apparently it's broken or inactive or inoperable. I know I'm using big boy words. I'm sorry, but I have to. Because I'm upset. I'm upset that we, the people, allow this to happen to good, God, honest, decent people. I don't know what else to say, Kim. I really don't know what else to say. I'm dumbfounded. I am flabbergasted, taken back, appalled, disgusted, nauseated, tired and weary of being divided. I think we have done enough. I'll see you guys later.